Commission meeting by calling it to order. Beginning with an invocation by Mayor Pro Tem Wayne Seats, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Public Safety Deputy Director Clark. All rise.
Gracious God, our Father, we thank you today for your loving kindness and tender mercy. We thank you for bringing us together today. Thank you for life, health, and strength, and all that you've done for us to this point. I ask you for wisdom and knowledge and guidance. Tonight, let this meeting be a successful meeting. In the name of Jesus. And God, look on our community, look on our leaders. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
Present.
Commissioner Henderson,
Present.
Commissioner Henry, Commissioner Isom,
Present.
Commissioner Kennard,
Present.
Commissioner Singleton,
Present.
Commissioner Warren,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats,
Present.
Mayor Mohammed.
Present.
You have a quorum.
This brings us to the approval of minutes July 1, 2024. Is there a motion for the approval? Motion is made by
Support.
Commissioner Henderson and is supported by Mayor Pro Tem Seats. Madam Clerk.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry, Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion carried.
This brings us to approval of accounts payable listing. Is there a motion for the approval? Motion is made by Commissioner Henderson.
Support.
It is supported by Commissioner Singleton. Is there discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
No.
Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion carried.
This brings us to the next item on the agenda, which is a public hearing. I'd like to open it up for the City of Benton Harbor Brownfield Redevelopment Authority plan for 960 ACOG.
We have with us this evening there, Ms. Teresa Searles from Fish Bank. If you'd like to go to the mic.
I also ask that a representative of the development team come up as well.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll start by saying, for those that don't know me, my name is Teresa Searles with Fishbeck. I'm the Brownfield Advisor for the City of Benton Harbor Brownfield Redevelopment Authority. So just very briefly, some context. Historically, the city has had a comprehensive brownfield plan with a new chapter created every time there was a new project. With recent administrative changes to the brownfield legislature, we have made a decision that it makes sense to keep that comprehensive plan, but new plans moving forward to be standalone plans, and that's what this plan is now. I'll let the developer in just a minute tell you a little bit about the plan itself and why it's deemed a good fit for the city of Benton Harbor. But as it is a housing project in general, this is not a housing brownfield plan. Some of you may have heard about recent changes to the legislature that allow for housing amenities. This is strictly very traditional brownfield eligible activities. There's been a lot of back and forth between Fishbeck, the development team, and Mr. Little to make sure it aligns with city goals, and there is a max capture allowed. So if you want to tell a little bit about the project.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jill Ferrari. I am one of the co-developers on the project. I'm here with Aaron Hudson, who is our partner. This site is the site of the former Mercy Hospital, as you all know. Our brownfield plan includes eligible activities that will help us finance about $1.2 million in activities that are to be conducted. We are within 60 days of closing today. It's July 15th. We're hoping to close by September 15th. So we are ready to go, and we hope that we can get your approval tonight to move forward. We're very excited.
So the Brownfield Authority did recommend the plan for adoption by this board on June 13th. So the final step for approving the plan would be passing a resolution by this board. The plan is set to be in place estimated 28 years. That's 25 years for developer reimbursements and 5 years for the local Brownfield revolving fund. That's the program that allows the Brownfield Authority here in the city to have a source of financing coming in to keep their programs more sustainable and support other projects in the city.
Is there any other information that you all would like to provide to this board before we open the hearing up for questions or comments? Chair recognizes Third Ward Commissioner Henry.
Thank you, Mayor. What is the criteria for this development to be in Brownfield?
It meets the facility status. So essentially what that means is it's a contaminated piece of property, but I do want to be clear that contaminated means it meets that definition legislatively according to Part 201 cleanup criteria, but there will be no unacceptable exposures for the end use once all the due care activities are completed.
So this is for cleanup, or is this for the project being funded?
So that facility status is how the property becomes eligible for a brownfield. And now this is the mechanism that we're using as the brownfield plan. And so as Ms. Ferrari indicated, the eligible activities in here are limited to what they need to finance the loan to make it move forward. Statutorily, there could be more activities that are eligible, but we wanted this to be in line for what they needed to move forward, what made the best sense for the city. So it's pared down to just those activities that can finance that gap for the loan.
And we can go through those if that would be helpful.
Yeah, because it's so
Sure.
great to me, I'm sitting here swimming.
Yes, in communities like Benton Harbor, activities include environmental, but they also include other activities for sites like 960 AGARD. We have our due diligence activities, which is the completion of a baseline environmental assessment. We will be conducting that very shortly after this meeting. We can start that process. We have to be within a time frame of closing to do that activity. We also put a line item in here for any testing of soils that we encountered during construction, which we don't anticipate, but we always like to have those activities identified, especially on a site like this, where contamination's been identified in the past. We have site demolition, which is the removal of sidewalks, curbs, and gutters. All of you are familiar with the site. There is some old concrete on the site that needs to be removed, as well as the things that I just mentioned. Then there is the addition of new public infrastructure on the site, and we are planning sidewalks, roads, and an underground stormwater retention system, as well as new water and sewer infrastructure. Those are all laid out in attachment D in the plan. And then also, there is significant earthwork. We will be removing some of the soils and recompacting them back on the site. We have our analysis back that shows that we can use the soils on site. They are safe to be used. So we will be doing that, excavating soils and recompacting and putting them back down so that we can build the homes. The remaining activities are contingency and the report preparation as part of the brownfield plan process.
So, the last we heard that they were testing that, whatever the contaminant was. And I don't think we've heard back as to what was there. Do you have that information?
I do. As you all remember, this project originally involved two parcels, 960 Agard and 807 Well. In the process of a EGLE grant that was awarded to the city, some contaminants were identified on 807 Well that were present on the site at levels that need to be addressed before development can move forward. The contaminant that was found is NaPl. It is a petroleum product, usually the result of an underground storage tank. And after that was identified, we separated the parcels and moved forward with a purchase agreement on 960 Agard and an option on 807 Well. It is our understanding that the city is pursuing a grant to do further investigation on 807 Well, which EGLE is at the table to discuss, and I know the city's working on that right now, to really understand the extent of that contamination. We are willing to move forward and build the remaining 10 homes on that property if we can get that property to no further action level from EGLE, so that it's safe for residential homes.
So, going back in memory, there was some single-family homes when you first came into the project. Of course, now, all monies were taken care of. Everything was in place for you guys to do this. And now, we're back to getting single-family homes. Did I hear you say 10?
That's just on 807 Well. In 960 Agard, the program is 28 single-family homes in the form of duplex buildings, and then a 4-story building with 39 rental units and ground floor commercial space. And we are targeting childcare and local retail for that ground floor of that building.
Do I hear you saying there is single-family homes going to be built in that area as well?
Correct.
And how many are they?
There are 28 homes.
No, single-family homes. I'm not talking about duplexes. I'm talking about single-family dwelling.
There are no single cottage units proposed in the development. They are only duplexes proposed that are all for sale.
Okay, so we're adding how many duplexes?
28 in the first phase, 10 in 807 Well, if we can get that clean to the appropriate level. So there's, yep.
That's my question. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Mayor Pro Tem Seats.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. I want to say thank you. Basically, this has been something that's been going on for about 4 or 5 years. And now we're getting to the finish line. I do want to say that any development right now is a good development in the inner city of Benton Harbor. That property has been there and it's been costing us money for a long time. I will say that with Brownfield, it is something that is made for this. And hopefully that we can make this happen. Or sooner than later, I do want to commend Ms. Hudson also for her diligence in working the background, but also in the front for many years to get this done. I will say that that land cost millions of dollars for it to be demolished. With the Mercy Center, a lot of us sitting here right now might have been born, if you weren't born then, and where you started is where you're at. But I will say that the contaminant portion on Weld Street, how far off is that from was it Pipestone, Agard, or whatever the other addresses I'm looking at? How far off is are they trying to say it's a petroleum, like there used to be a gas station, or could it be a gas pipe, or until further investigation is done, you might not know, but how far off is it from where you're going to be building right now? Thank you.
The contamination was identified immediately east of the utility corridor on the east side of 960 Agard. I don't know if there's a site plan. There's a site plan in the Brownfield plan, if anybody could throw that up on the screen. Madam Clerk, the contamination was identified on the 807 well parcel in the northwest corner, right next to that utility corridor. One of the thoughts is that it is contamination that traveled down the utility corridor from a gas station off-site, or it could be a different source on a neighboring property. Right now, it's unknown. It needs to be investigated. We have tested extensively on the 960 Agard parcel along that utility corridor to ensure that no contamination is migrating onto 960 Agard. And those results have come back negative for us, so we're ready to move forward.
Through the chair, the last question, well, not the last question, last statement. It's usually when we have a demolition, Michigan Gas is included, AEP is included, whatever utility is included. Is there a report that was done from Michigan Gas Utilities to say that they disconnected it before there was a demo, or because being at the utility corridor, I mean, that's where every utility is coming in at? And was there any documentation from them saying that they did do the proper demolition or disconnection? Or like the water was running there for a long time in that basement of the hospital, and other utilities were running for a long time in the basement of that hospital. So I would ask that maybe we should try to make sure that it's in that gap or that easement for utilities, Michigan Gas, to know where it actually, unless history forsakes me, I didn't know ever of a gas station being right there for many, many, many years. So I would think it was Michigan Gas, probably utilities let that gas line, or even when it was demoed, maybe the gas line was still connected. And matter of fact, if history reminds me, there was something that happened during the demo with the gas company, and they had to come back and try to put the gas main together. But that's history, so probably something to look at. Thank you.
The demolition report is extensive. I have about 500 pages in the demolition report, but there's still some question about the source, so it will require additional investigation. But we do know that Eagle has been very supportive of this whole project in the city of Benton Harbor, and it appears that there is money available to investigate that site. So the next step is just really start to figure out where that source is coming from.
Thank you.
I do want to recognize, this is just a burning insertion. You have the floor.
I just wanted a point of clarification, if I may. While this is a multi-phase development that takes place over multiple parcels, for the purposes of the brownfield plan, it is only for the portion of the 960 Agard for that first phase of development. So the eligible activities will only be for that first phase. We will only be capturing that tax increment for that portion of the parcel, which will be handled administratively through the city. So that maximum cap will be set at 2.190447. And I also want to point out that the investment for this phase of the development is roughly 8.8 million. About 4.9 of that is private investment.
I do want to recognize Commissioner at Large Kennard.
Thank you, Mayor. What I'd like to do is get back to one of the things that you had mentioned. First of all, that the contaminant that was there. Should there not have been a full investigation of any contaminants other than just the one you named before even thinking of building? Because there are families that will be living in that piece of property. So it should have been an extensive look at the land, because there's so many things or elements that could have reached into the soil. And so therefore, it seems like it should have been the first thing that they look for to find out what other contaminants would have been in that soil. So get so far before you have investigated those things. Why is that so?
I'm trying to think how best to answer this. I guess in my mind, it's kind of like when you go to a hospital, they can sit there and test you for everything under the sun or what seems reasonable. And when we're talking about land, we're usually talking about due care responsibilities. So you do have a responsibility to know what's there, to protect your occupants. You can't make it worse. And so for this consideration where we know there will be families, it will be a more restrictive cleanup to that residential use. And so I guess it's just kind of how you go in development. It's that phase 2 sampling where we do test the soil and groundwater, but it may not be a test everything under the sun, but it will be look at the project specific and do testing that makes sense for that use and make sure it's cleaned up to a point where there are no unacceptable exposure for those occupants.
I will add that MISTA, the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, does have a grant awarded to this project, and their level of investigation is higher than standard due diligence. And so we have grid the site and done samples in intervals all across 960 Agard and 807 Wells. So the testing that was done on these two parcels was much more extensive than a regular developer coming in and just doing regular due diligence. And that's how this contamination was found earlier this year. But there's a very large report on the investigation that's been done. It's been extensive. It was required by MISTA.
One of the reasons I asked because Commissioner Seat said that this had been going on for about 5 years since in plan. It seemed like out of the 5 years, in looking at this land to be used for those purposes, looked like within that 5 years, there should have been an inspection done majorly on the soil.
So interestingly enough, when we first started pursuing the property, we did a phase 1 and phase 2 in 2022, and it identified some issues, but we didn't really find this issue on 807 Weld until we grid the whole 2 properties. So it just goes to show you that sometimes you can miss things even when you do kind of standard due diligence. So we have done several rounds of investigation on the site. And have lots of data, but when we started doing it in 2021, 2022.
Chair recognizes the city manager.
I'd just like to add for future reference, this is an old industrial city, and we're finding every project that we deal with there, these issues. We've gone through a process related to Ox Creek where the TAB unit from Kansas State University that EPA put in here and worked with us has been going back and finding where there were places where there were old cleaners years ago, or places that sold oil and whatnot. And there are places you would never expect just looking at them that would have been the case. So you don't know until you really get into it what the situation is. And that's going to be common with everything that we do.
Yes, some gentleman told me, he said, if you really want to know me, don't follow me to church, follow me home. And I did some extensive research on Renovator. I spoke with Mayor Brown of Ypsilanti, which you all have a awesome development taking place, very challenged. Probably more of a challenge than what we're dealing with here. Right, that's what she shared with me, where it looked like at one point it wasn't gonna make it. But now it's in another space and place, and the community is absolutely excited. I spoke with Mayor Kendall of Harvard Woods. So I would invite the council, if it could be arranged where, we can see some of the work, because I have found through my investigation as Mrs. Kennard said, that Guinevere is not amateur night at the Apollo. These are high-powered professionals, people that know what they're doing, and, you know, are helping and working with communities. And I want to welcome you and thank you for choosing Benton Harbor, because as Mayor Pro Tem stated, that we have been looking, not with a blindfold, but looking for someone that really has the wherewithal and the know-how to develop that particular property, because it's very unique and very near and dear to this community. So I look forward to working with you. Just a reminder, what's being approved tonight is phase 1. There's 2 other phases, more work to do, but this is critical to moving forward and germane to the overall success of the project. I do want to recognize Commissioner at Large Singleton.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Yeah, I've been kind of following this project in its struggles, and, you know, and I'd like to commend everybody, you know, who worked through a lot of those struggles to even bring it to the point where some dirt would be getting turned, you know, if we pass this. Probably in about 12 days, about 68 years ago, 960, whatever it is, Agard. I was born there, and I think probably when I was 12, got my tonsils took out there too. But to see see that site, you know, I seen it in its best days, and then seen it at its worst days, and also for the people living in the community who, you know, suffered its worst days, and just see something happening on that property, especially housing, which we know is a great need, you know, in our city. So this first phase is with the brownfield thing that we're doing tonight. So those, and it's 2 more phases right after this. So we won't be looking to capture any brownfield dollars on it. So when those phases are up and running, that will be straight on the tax rolls as a normal property, right?
On phase 2, there may be some lower income units in the multifamily building, so we may ask for a pilot on those units, but we will not be capturing any more of the ad valorem for the commercial for that phase or for the other homes. We've made that agreement with Mr.
You made it, I'm sorry, I didn't understand you.
We agreed to that in the brownfield plan. We stated that expressly in the brownfield plan, that we would only capture tax increment from phase 1.
Phase 1.
At the 28 units that we're going to get.
Is that the contaminating land?
No, that is not the 68 yard.
Are we talking about doing a brownfield for 9 acre, or are we talking about doing a brownfield?
968 guys.
Yes. Is it phase 1?
Yes,
We're in phase 1.
correct. We are doing a phase 1 for a portion of the 960 acre parcel. Right now, the 960 acre parcel is about 4 acres. The brownfield plan only encompasses phase 1, which is a portion of 960 acre.
So ultimately, in looking at the resolution, the 4 acres will have 2 tax ID numbers, where the first phase is in the brownfield, the second phase is not. And then with the cleanup of Whale, which is really a whole nother part, you know, so I don't want to put that into the alphabet soup at this point. but what's being considered now is a portion, and I want to read it here. It says, whereas the authority pursuant to and in accordance with section 13 of the act as reviewed and recommended for adoption by Ben Harbor City Commissioners, the Brownfield plan, parentheses attached here to be carried out within the city of Benton Harbor relating to the development of property located at a portion of 960 Agard Avenue, Benton Harbor, Michigan, the site is shown in figures 1 and 2 of the plan, and more particularly described in the legal description of the property contained within the attached plan. And then it goes on to say, lastly, now therefore be it further resolved that the Brownfield tax increment approval for capture of the tax increment for financing is for phase 1 only, and that prior to closing, a separate legal description and tax identification number for the portion of the parcel currently referred to as phase 2, on which the 4-story 39-unit apartment building on the portion of 968 Guard is to be located, will be required. Prior to closing, all other documents required, including a signed development agreement, must be fully executed. So we're just at the runners take your mark. It's said.
I just have a problem with the brownfield part of it. In this phase 1. Having a problem with what the brownfield is supposed to do, and maybe I missed something.
But it's
I heard her
connected.
say that there's some new legislation in somewhere in Lansing, so maybe I'm missing it. I don't know, but something just I'm not understanding, so.
I can clarify. 960 Agard does have a presence of contamination that qualifies for the program, but it does not require cleanup under residential criteria, or under the proposed use. So there is enough to make it a facility, but we do not have to excavate and remove soils as part of the cleanup of the property.
Could you also speak to how it's connected to the financing and that part?
Sure. Once the brownfield plan is approved, we have a term sheet for a loan against that future tax increment that we will guarantee. The loan will come in at closing and it will pay for grading, site preparation, and a lot of the brownfield activities that are in the plan. And then that loan will get taken out. We will be issuing a bond when the project finishes completion through a national issuer, not a local bond, nothing local. This is a national issuer. And that will pay off the loan that we are taking out, and the future tax increment from phase 1 will pay down that bond.
I got it. I got you. I understand that. That's another stick in the eye for the city of Benton Harbor.
Chair recognizes Mayor Pro Tem C.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. From the last 13, 14 years of community economic development, usually when development comes in, all the way back to pretty much anything that's been done, including the Seriano, whatever that is, on Main Street. They came in, started doing redevelopment. Because of some contaminants, they had to get brownfield dollars. Difference with that, and for say, when Harbor Shores was going on, they had to excavate and then bring in tons of soil to replace, which other funding and other monies had to come in for that. But that's what you have brownfield for. Brownfield is a help for development, new development. People will recapture money that if it was a perfect opportunity, you wouldn't have to spend that money. So when you have the contaminants there, that's when you have the brownfield backer to say that the money you spend to get rid of the contaminants that necessarily we didn't know that was there, but they are there. That is money to help. It's almost like insurance or we're getting ready to build a house somewhere, and you find out there's something there, the buyer should not have to incur that expense. But the person who was selling the property or buying the property for it should have to incur that expense. And so I concur that with Brownfield, them circling or them bringing it forth, I think they probably have already crossed their T's and dotted their I's as far as the Brownfield portion to say this does qualify. So right now, this board is only saying that we support with our Brownfield Development Authority, which we have a board that we've appointed to oversee and to look at these kind of issues, doing the correct thing. And I do again want to go back to one point, and that is how much in the first phase of development money are you guys, and I don't mean to say you guys, the development,
Renovated development.
development, and I want to say MML did give you guys an outstanding review also last year, or this year, I'm sorry, earlier this year, when Commissioner Lars Kennard was there. They did speak well of these developments that you guys are doing, or this development is doing. Can you speak to the amount of money that you're putting in the first phase, and then the second phase, and possibly the third phase? Thank you.
Yes. The total development costs for the first phase are roughly 8.9
$8.9
million.
Thank you.
We are still finalizing the costs for the second phase, and I apologize, I don't have that in front of me. But it's, I believe, roughly 15 million for that 4-story building. Still updating costs. Thank you so much. Right, 15,582 for phase 2, which is the 4-story mixed-use building. And then the last phase is roughly 2.3 million for the last 10 homes, 8 to 10 homes. It's going to depend on how many we can actually get on that property with the road running through 807 Wells and some other pieces. But we're hoping to get 10 more units on the last phase.
So through the chair, total amount of development should be on math skills,
25.
high school,
About 27 million.
college. So $27 million project total.
Correct.
So we're not talking about mom and pop at a grocery store or somebody putting a shed on the property with some horses. We're talking about $27 million. Thank you.
So with that being said, we're going to close the public hearing. And we will move to next item on the agenda, which is the public comment or citizens' comments. There's a 3-minute maximum per speaker. Please sign in with the clerk.
Nick Gunn.
Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Good evening to the commission. Nick Gunn, coming from the Benton Harbor Arts Association as a board member. Today, we are 6 days away from our Benton Harbor Children's Art Fair. So that is this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. I believe it's going to be a big event. There's going to be a lot of children down there from across the community, from across the area. We're going to have a great time. We have a lot of different artists that will be down here in Benton Harbor, just talking about how great our community is and just spreading joy to free. And it's all completely free. It's going to be free food, free hot dogs, free vendors, free art, and also teaching the students, how to do different artistic things with skilled artists from around the community. So if you guys have time to come out, it'd be great to see you all there. Have T-shirts for you all, so I'll give that to the clerk, and you guys can pick them up throughout the week. So I'll have T-shirts for you all, and just hope you guys are able to come out. And we have a great list of judges that will be judging this children's art fair. Scholarship opportunities for the students from some of the colleges in the area. We also have different scholarship opportunities from the local arts businesses in the community. So you can win a glass blowing scholarship. You can win different awards, different acting when it comes to acting, music, all of that. We're all just here in the Benton Harbor Arts District, and it's just going to be a great time. So thank you guys for your time.
No more comments.
Thank you. This brings us to the consent calendar. Are there any items that should be separated, or should the consent calendar be accepted as is?
Make a motion to approve those.
Motion is made by there is a motion on the floor.
Support.
I have, unless the Mayor Pro Tem withdraws his motion.
For the point of contention, I will withdraw my motion for the general third ward commissioner.
Motion has another John. Commissioner Henry, you're recognized.
Mayor Pro Tem, give me the authority to do this. I would like to see number 2 and number 3 discussed in public.
Make a motion to approve consent calendar items with those removed.
Support.
Is there a motion for the approval of the consent calendar?
Motion approved.
Support.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry, Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion carried.
This brings us to item number 2, resolution authorizing the interim city manager to execute a contract for the removal and cleanup of dead trees and limbs. Is there a motion for the approval? Motion is made by Commissioner Henderson. Is there support?
Support.
It's supported by Commissioner Singleton. Is there discussion? Chair recognizes Third Ward Commissioner Henry.
Thank you, Mayor. When we first heard about this project about cutting down trees, there was mechanism for the citizens to save money. And I'm asking to the chair, what happened to that third, where the residents will pay a third and the city would pay 2/3 for trees to be cut down? So, question to the chair for the city manager.
Mr. Little.
That is still there. If I'm not mistaken, I believe 2 of these have private owner participating in it. The others are a combination of properties that the city owns and also what we consider abatement, because they're neglected properties with these conditions where we posted the property, attempted to contact the owner, give them a time period to remove them, and had them having not done so, we're proceeding to do it, and the cost will be put on their taxes.
Okay, I noticed that there was 3 properties that did not belong to the city of Benton Harbor. And I'm asking about what is the criteria? Is there immediate danger of these trees? What is the criteria that these trees are marked. When the city has been marking trees for the last 30 years, every 2 years they change the color, and they promise the residents that they're gonna cut the trees down. So now we got a new plan, and it requires them to come up with a third of the money. But I need to know what is the criteria for these trees being targeted to go down with community block grant money.
The answer is that this is an entirely different effort. I don't really know any of the details about the process we're talking about, the marking the trees and bringing them down. This is under the slum and blight removal provisions of the community development block grant. This qualifies. We've gone through the processes, put together the information, publicize it, put it out for bid, receive the bids and do it. Now, if these were live trees that were standing, we probably would not be cutting them right now because of the bad regulations that only allow you to do it at a certain time period.
So these are all dead trees.
They're all dead trees.
Even the one with all the leaves on it, well, I guess they would be dead. So did they get targeted by code enforcement?
Yes.
So code enforcement said, here's a tree that's in danger.
We asked them to identify areas in the city where we've got trees and huge limbs laying there, just doing nothing but preventing with a cut and lots of everything else. That it was contributing to slum like conditions.
And every time I hear somebody say blight, I think about what they did to us back in the 80s. So that's scary. But there's plenty other, I can show you on my block, 1100 block of Union, 3 trees that have fallen apart over decades. And I can't see why those trees are not done, because they definitely cause a havoc, any kind of strong wind blow or anything that goes down these trees have things to fall off of, big chunks of them. So I'm trying to figure out how to get more relief for the people. And it's only, out of all of these houses, there's 3 of them being targeted. And they evidently did not answer to your complaint, but how do we go back and fix all the other ones that we've been for decades not touching?
Just provide us the information and we'll look at them and see if we can do it.
I can't provide you that information. You just told me somebody was doing it for you. They're supposed to work and market touch these trees and know that they are devastating our neighborhood. And y'all don't know where the blight come from.
So the definition.
But I know what you do when you want to spend money on what you want to spend it on. And you use certain keywords like blight. So I don't try to figure out how to get all our trees done with our money. Because community block grant money belongs to the citizens. It does not belong to the city. It belongs to the citizens.
Well,
And
just
I'm
for,
trying to figure out how to get more of these trees cut down that have been targeted for years. When I see a project like this, and I think 3 people, 3 families, are going to get, one family in particular going to get a lot of money put on their taxes. And if that house goes away, that's another family gone. So we got to do more things for humans than we doing for infrastructure. Human infrastructure is much more important. Keep a family in a house, a home in there is much more important than putting sidewalks and stuff in. So So if we don't find some way to take care of our own, all of these are city-owned property. We don't give the city a grass cutting, we don't give the county a grass cutting. We just let them get away with murder. And I'm sick of it. We need to take care of the people.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Singleton.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. It did come through committee, but I remember probably, I don't know, maybe first term or so, maybe the second, we talked about trying to get a dangerous tree ordinance. Because we know that in this city, there's a lot of trees with issues. I'm thankful that, we're making some move because I don't even think we was able to get that passed. I think a lot of commissioners had some concerns about it, but I could see getting those ones that, especially, I think our first obligation is to limit exposure to the city and to city-owned properties that have trees that's, could be endangering folks' lives or property. We need to get those down, and then the assistance with the homeowners, if they, take advantage of it, to get theirs down, because it is a responsibility. Then if you made due diligence on trying to contact the folks to notify them and they don't respond, what can you do? I know we're trying to save a home or whatever, but my biggest concern is saving life. So it's a start, and
Chair recognizes Mayor Pro Tem Seats.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. I concur that we've been talking about this tree cutting for a lot of years. And every time there's a big storm, a windstorm, or whatever, you see trees everywhere and uprooted, falling down. And some of these trees shouldn't even be standing up right now. They pretty much ate up by ants, termites, a lot of different things that are happening. And as we said, when we went for the income tax, everybody do a little. Everybody got to do a lot. So we start by doing a little, and sooner or later, we get a lot done. I think that it's a good thing that we are getting this done, and maybe we should do like St. Joe and other municipalities do, get some people out of KPEP or whatever, chainsaws in their hand and start cutting down what they cut down and getting the brush and using it for whatever we want to use it for. But some of these trees should have been gone many years ago, and I heard it was a few trees in the blocks, but I know on our block we got probably about 5 or 6 trees that don't got no leaves on them nowhere, and that they're in the yard of people. And some of these are on the tree, the city tree line. And so what happens when they fall down and bust the fence up on properties, then the city's responsible to go out there and get them after the fact. And I concur with my constituent that we do need to do it as a safety hazard. People are getting their cars crushed, houses hit, all these other kind of things. And these trees, I see these pictures, a couple of them look like they might be young, but some of them are very, very old and need to go. You see the vines wrapped around them, and conferring with the city manager, the property owners have been notified of the situation, and they have the opportunity to say, hopefully, if they don't want the tree cut down, then we tell them it's going to be on their responsibility. But if we have the opportunity to help, most of these do say we're the owner of them. But if we have the opportunity to help a resident to get a tree down. Tree cutting is not something that's inexpensive. Say it again. Tree cutting is something that's not inexpensive. You know, back in the day, you used to get a guy go up there and climb a tree, about $100, go up there and do it and fall down, be in a wheelchair, anything happen. But that's not going on no more, so, we need to make sure that we're doing it the safe way, the right way. These people are insured, and they're gonna clean up, and they're gonna make sure that it's done right. And let's get it done for the people. People want to see development. They want to see things happening and cleaned up, and then we can sell these properties and develop these properties. But the way they're looking now, the trees laying down on them, then you can do it. Thank you, Honorable Mayor.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Commissioner Clark Griffin, who has not spoken tonight.
Okay, I just want to get a clear understanding. These trees are gonna be cut down with CDBG money.
That's
Okay?
correct.
I know that, I'm just summarizing. But I did hear that the private owner is gonna go on their taxes.
This
Am I
is
hearing that
correct.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then I also heard that these homeowners have been notified. Right? Because I'm looking at one that's in the fourth ward, and I know for a fact that she's been trying to get this tree cut down forever. And I talked to Dale from the CDBG about a month ago, and she said it's gonna be cut down free for this person. It's not free if it's gonna go on their taxes. And she has been notified, and she has been calling the city. She's talked to me many times about getting this cut down. And the city cut some of it years ago, but then they only cut a little of it. So this is the same tree that the city folks had taken care of years ago. And like Commissioner Henry said, the CDBG money is for the citizen. So it's gonna be cut down with the money for the citizen, but then it gonna go on the citizen tax. That don't make sense to me. You can't make that make sense. And then I'm getting some wrong information because I was told this one on Thresh was gonna be cut down free for this resident who's been study calling. So she has been in compliance and been trying to get it cut down because it should have been did right the first time years ago. My last thing is, the city owns tree stuff, the limb, right? Grass, the lawn and all there. And I'm look like some of these are on the lawn. So you're saying that citizens have to pay for something that the city owns? That belongs to the city. So why is the citizen paying for it?
So just,
That don't make sense to me. And, this just don't make sense.
so, Mr. Manager, fourth ward commissioners bringing to light, CDBG dollars is for the benefit of the residents. And if the CDBG dollars is being used to cut down a tree that we had already partially cut down, the city. And now we're coming back using community development block grant dollars to cut it down, which is an improvement in the safety matter. It is eligible, but then to tack it on to the homeowner on their taxes, how does that, is the city making money? If it's not, the city, like if my grass or somebody's grass, if the city comes out and cuts that grass, puts that on the taxes, then the city is recouping the cost for labor. But if the city is using federal dollars under the eligible expense to take a tree down and then turn around and charge the resident, is that appropriate, or is that what's happening? That's not what's happening. Educate me.
It is appropriate where it's being done as part of an enforcement
But HUD said we're not supposed to use, CDBG dollars for code enforcement.
It's not for code enforcement, but the one here you're referring to on Threshers, as I mentioned, I believe this is a one exception where that will be charged back, because from what I'm told, the Public Works Department started doing trimming on this tree some time ago and never finished it. But let me say this, we received this year allocation, $389,000. We've been getting a little less each year, and unless Congress does something different, that may continue for a while. We don't get enough money to cut down all the trees, to cut all the grass on all the lots, or to demolish all the buildings that need demolishing. What we're doing, somebody said it properly a little earlier, it's a start. It's a start in trying to get these properties cleaned up. And that's all it is so far. This is what we had to do for trees. We have so much that we're trying to do for demolition, and just starting to try to clean the city up.
No, and I'm with you 100%. This is something that's way overdue. When I look at 689 Thresher, which this young lady has mentioned to me before, years, actually, maybe even late Commissioner Mary Donald, this was her house, been talking about this tree for a long time. And I see $850 tree removal, and I was just but I'm glad you cleared it up that this $850 is not going to be put on her taxes, where now she's absorbing the burden, and this is something that the city should have done years ago, but coming back to do it, that's proper. And then 457 Vineyard, and most of these are city-owned parcels. So, I mean, this is not a headhunt list of homeowners where, the city is going in trying to put stuff on people's taxes, so we don't want to get that. But I do appreciate that clarity, Commissioner Clark Griffin. And I will remind, the city income tax is for emergencies as well. Not just roads, sidewalks, alleys, that's a part of it, but emergencies deemed by the city council, certain things can't be addressed in that emergency context. It would just have to be, so if it was a situation where we had 30 trees that's endangering the public, we do have the authority, through serious vetting to address the problem. So that's within our powers to do. So I'm looking at this list here where you have, this is a $30,000 project for 20 parcels. So if we looked at 40 parcels, that's 60,000. So maybe that's something that one of the committees could take up, if that's the will of the body, to start looking at what trees are really dangerous sources for the city. Chair recognizes. Was not finished, pardon me, Commissioner Parker.
Okay, so clarity on the Thresher, so she's not gonna be charged, right? Okay, but I really think that no resident should be charged for trees that belong to the city. If it's on the line, it belongs to the city. Also, when it's being torn down by the CDBG money, CDBG, which is money for the residents. So putting it on their taxes is like charging them, and could create a financial burden for them. So any of these owners that's individual owner, I really don't think that they should be charged. It should be put on their taxes, especially when it does belong to the city and that money belongs to the residents. And I know, like I said, the Thresher, it's a danger. She's scared to let her kids even play out there. So, thank you.
Commissioner Kennard has been patiently waiting.
Thank you, Mayor. One of the other things too, and I agree with what they're saying, we've got city-owned property just back here a little better than a month ago on Pearl in the 1100 block. There was a whole limb that had fell out of a tree, city-owned property, and it blocked the whole street. I don't know who came and pulled it out of the middle of the street, but they threw it on a vacant lot that belongs to the city. I know that's more than likely. And the grass was taller than me, which don't have to be real tall, but it's taller than me. And so that's why I feel that it's a disservice to the community when the city itself has got city-owned property. There's trees there that is falling apart, that's on the property, as well so as some is on the tree lawn part that is really needs to be taken down. But as she was saying, that money that is being used to do cities work, that is not right. And then you're ready to set a bill on the people that have to have some help.
I do want to recognize Commissioner at Large Singleton.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Just trying to get clarification on two issues then. So the money that's CBDG money that people applying for to get the 80% or whatever, how much percentage was it?
That's not this project.
Okay, so the money that's CBD money, you're not, if you cut down the tree on, so they're not eligible. There's a different project. So the money that you're spending in CBD, you going back after the property owner?
Where their private properties
Private
that
property.
they have neglected to take care of, yes.
Okay.
Same as what we do where we're cutting grass
Uh-huh.
on the big properties. But keep in mind, the regulations that come with CDBG set out what you can and cannot do. From our allocation, 20% is administration, 15% is allowed in the category called public service. That's what we use to pay the summer youth program each year, and also the food nutrition program for the seniors. Then you've got, besides public service, you've got public facilities, I believe it is, and that's where we're doing demolition, this kind of work and so forth. So it's all being done in line with specific federal regulations, what the federal priorities are that match our priorities, such as the slum and blight removal. As the mayor was pointing out, if it wasn't under the slum and blight and it was simple enforcement, then we couldn't do it, because the city would have to pay for it.
Okay, the other one that I had was the tree line. Now, it's glad we got the attorney. In most of the meetings we didn't have the attorney when that came up. So the city do not, in front of your house, the city do not own the tree line. The city has easement rights, but they don't, you own the tree line, as I'm correct with that.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. If you got a house, the tree line in front of your house is owned by you. The city just has an easement rights. You own from curb to the back of your property. That's been the misconception for a long time, that, you know, the city owns the tree line. That's not the case. If you look at your deeds, property description, you'll see from curb to the back end of your property, you own it. You know, the city just has easements, just like I think other, like sometimes utilities or something has easements, but you own the tree line. Is that?
Mayor Pro Tem Seats.
Yeah, I was gonna, thank you, clarify that, Commissioner at Large, Singleton, because that was my statement, because I know with the water lines, that you are responsible for your water line all the way to the center of the street. And if something happens with your sewer line, the sewer line, then you are responsible from your house to the connect, which is the center of the street, and they tell you that if you dig up that sidewalk, you dig up that street, you are responsible for it. So, I mean, the city is not responsible for cutting that grass. If your sidewalk divides your grass from your property, then you are responsible for cutting that grass. The city does not come along to cut that grass. That is your property. If somebody falls and hurt themselves on your property, where it's divided by your sidewalk, the city is not responsible. You are responsible. So now it's a difference in a city tree when you have city property, such as the housing commission, they have city houses, that they do have city trees that were there that we go and get them up and all that. But last time I checked, and this was under, I want to say Pete Mitchell, city manager Pete Mitchell, that a tree fell on the property from the tree line, and I was deemed responsible. My sewer line broke in the tree line, and I was responsible all the way to the connect. So I think we need to get a legal opinion on what are you responsible for from where to where, because if we're telling people these are city trees and something happens, I don't want to become liable for somebody's accident and all these trees are falling. They are falling. So are they the city through the chair to the legal counsel, not my opinion? Whose trees do these belong to? Is it the residents' trees, if you own your property? Or is it the city trees all throughout the community that are on that tree line? Because I think that needs to be documented for the record, because I don't want to put out misinformation if something happens and somebody's damaged, and now the city becomes liable for it. Thank you.
Attorney Seneca.
Yes, Honorable Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem, City Commissioners, the trees belong to the residents who own the property. The tree just happens to be in the city's right of way. So it is the residents' trees in that area in the tree lawn. But the city does have an easement for things like sidewalks, water, sewer, but that is your tree if that is your yard.
Okay, so this is where, and Commissioner Henderson, to use CDBG dollars, and CDBG specifically told the city of Ben Harbor that it is not to be, we can't fund code enforcement with CDBG dollars, because the monies for CDBG is to help the residents, not to be used to cite residents, or, you know, where sometimes code enforcement could be looked at as a revenue. So now we're using federal money, federal dollars to create revenue for the city, and they say, no, you can't do that. So I'm looking at 457 Vineyard, where $2,500 to cut this tree down. And we're not using general fund dollars, we're using CDBG dollars. So we use CDBG dollars to take down this tree, $2,500, and then turn around and charge the resident.
So what I have
Speak
not
to that.
What I have not done yet is look at the grant application requirements, and I don't know if interim manager Little has more information on this. I'm not exactly certain of the process that was undertaken by the city prior to this, but I know there was a process. I would have to look specifically at the grant requirements to see if these are eligible activities.
Because I'm looking at the other parcels, these are owned by the city.
Yes.
See what I'm saying?
Yes.
So this is city property using CDBG dollars to address health hazards or safety hazards which improves the quality of life of residents, which is what the CDBG dollars is supposed to do. So I do have a problem with 457 Vineyard, and we've already addressed Thresher. Now, if we were using city income tax dollars out of the general fund to take this tree down and then turn around and charge or put it on the residents' taxes, I think that would be a different circumstance, or different because the city is being reimbursed for doing something with city dollars that the resident is supposed to do.
Can we make a motion to remove those two, Honorable Mayor?
I do want to recognize Commissioner Henderson. She had the floor.
I was gonna say, we could go round and round and round about this particular issue. Let's just remove the residential ones that are in question and approve the other ones, to continue to go round and round, because I think blight elimination is something that's needed in the community. Like Commissioner Griffin said, we get calls about everything. And I've gotten quite a few about the way the city looks. And we have a community filled with old trees, and there are many that need to come down. So I applaud our Department of Public Works and Code Enforcement for looking at some of those issues. There is a lot of blight elimination that needs to happen with trees and that kind of thing in our community. But to continue to go round and round about, this particular issue, let's remove the issue right now and then vote on the things that we can come to a consensus about. Thank you.
Is that a motion? So the motion is made by Commissioner Henderson to remove 689 Thresher, 457 Vineyard. Supported by Mayor Pro Tem Seats. Madam Clerk.
Is there some discussion?
There needs to be discussion.
I do have a couple more questions that I need before I can give a yes or no answer.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Henry.
Thank you.
Discussion.
There's a couple of questions that I wanted to ask about tree removal. Some of these tasks are tree removal, and some of them are down trees. Do we know for number 9, it's $4,500? Do we know how many trees are down? Down trees, that means they're already down. Do we know how many trees are in that number? And my second question is, if you're gonna remove a tree, does that mean they're going to be stumped as well? And that's my two questions.
So it's been clear that 689 Thresher, because I don't think need to remove that one, because it's been said that that will not be on our taxes, and that tree does need to come down. Otherwise, if we remove it, then it does not come down.
I understand that, but that was not, I didn't agree to that, and I wouldn't agree to it, because that person does need our support. But the question is, do we know how many down trees are in that number, and the ones that they're going to remove, are they going to stump them?
Mr. Manager.
If you mean by stump them, are we gonna do stump grinding? No, we can't afford to.
You just leave the stump in the ground.
Cut them as close to the ground as possible and leave.
And is there a reason why, I mean, you said we're using community block grant money.
It's only 30,000.
Only,
Only.
is that what you said, only 39?
Only.
Okay, so I just find it hard to, I don't want to say do a job halfway, but that's what I'm seeing. If you cut a tree down and you don't stump it, you didn't do the job.
Well, I mean,
That's just common sense that we have had trees cut down, stumps, and they're horrible. We need to do better.
yeah, what
And
I,
if you say we don't have the money, we have money that's sitting in community block grant money that it didn't get spent last year. And we got it again this year. So we do have money. If we can give with money to help the senior citizens, we can do this.
So,
Finish the job, don't
so-
do halfway.
okay, so Mr. Little is, and like I said, you know, others have, I commend you, Mr. Manager, because you're really trying to do something that you inherited. And, you know, these little 689 Thresher and 457, I mean, we can work through that. But I mean, you're talking about 18 other properties. 2 question, 1 is not gonna be on the taxes, so I would just, you know, 457 Vineyard, would that be placed on the homeowner's taxes? Mr. Manager.
457
Vineyard, because for 689 Thresher will not be. Before we were, you know, because it was a motion to remove both, 689 will not be assessed to the property owner's taxes, with 457. Okay, so that one should be removed.
Made a motion to remove both of them,
But it would have to be,
unless you amend it.
yes, to remove just 457. Somebody, staff's hand up, because we don't need people in the audience.
So the CDBG grant manager is saying that no, that 457 would not go on the taxes.
It would not go on the, can the administrator please be recognized and come forward?
So that particular case, the responsible homeowner was doing her best to try to get that tree cut down. And the city manager developed this program that was the 1/3 cost share. She participated in that program. She filled out all the paperwork. She paid a deposit towards the 1/3 cost and is participating. So it wouldn't go on her taxes. She agreed to participate and pay the 1/3 cost.
And what about 457 Vineyard?
So that is the one that we discussed earlier that she was a participant as well. We made an exception for her 1/3 contribution because the city had already done work on it and didn't finish.
So that's for Thresher.
Yes, that's Thresher, right.
And for,
And Vineyard is the one that, the woman who paid her 1/3 and she.
for agreed.
Yes, and yes, signed all the paperwork and signed waivers, signed, agreed to pay
Well,
the 1/3.
Okay, so please, in the future, information is power. So please, step forward and step up to provide that information. Mr. Little is trying to do everything with only 2 hands and 2 eyes. So please, thank you, Director. Let me give Mr. Little a hand. Boy, no good deed goes unpunished. I'd like to call for the court.
We have to
We gotta,
we
okay.
gotta go back.
So Commissioner Henderson, we're gonna actually vote this to be withdrawn. So the motion has been withdrawn from Commissioner Henderson.
One statement I need to make.
Absolutely.
When the city come and plant trees, just about 2 or 3 years ago, on a person's, as you said, it's our responsibility. We didn't put it there. So why should we be responsible for that tree there? And you didn't even get our consent to even put the trees there.
I am not a legal mind, Commissioner Tannar, and I will not practice law without a license.
So the one that is practicing.
Deputy Clark is not gonna lock me up for that. I wanna recognize the city attorney.
So I would have to look at the program that was done under. The city does have a right to, there's grass there also, and the city probably didn't put the grass there, but the homeowner is responsible for mowing
This
that
is right on
grass.
Pipestone there in front of the church where there was trees. Mr. Little called me during the time that they were putting the trees out there and asked me would I assist or help. And I was on a vacation and I didn't, but they came down.
Was this in front of home or was this city property?
This is in front of the church has to be still responsible for the property. But also on May Street there, right at the stop sign there, the cross at May Street, they put down 2 trees. And the young lady that property is there she kept cutting them down because it was blocking the view of a person as they pulled out the driveway. But
So
we didn't put them in there,
that's a
you all put them in
totally,
there.
totally separate matter.
It's not
to what's
separate
being
because we didn't
done
ask to put
right
those
here.
trees there.
Okay,
You all put them
But
in.
tonight,
You
we're
should have
not,
got our consent.
that's a totally different matter, Commissioner Kennard, and the question has been called for on this resolution.
Commissioner Kennard,
What is this for?
this is for item number 2,
To, this is the,
for the removal of all of the trees on the list.
yes.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
Yeah.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry, Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion carried.
This brings us to the last and final item. Resolution authorizing the interim city manager to execute a contract with McKenna, implement phase 2 of Ben Harbor Master Plan zoning ordinance update. Is there a motion for the approval?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion is made by Mayor Pro Tem Seats. It is supported by Commissioner Henderson. Is there discussion?
Call for the question.
Chair recognizes the person who separated this item, Commissioner Henry.
Mayor. Mr. Little goes after good projects and, but I always have some questions to ask about projects when it comes to government money. So we have to look back at the process of the master plan and where it went and who were the biggest contributors to the master plan. And we have to go back to residents in Benton Harbor were outnumbered by the stakeholders. Everybody went to the meetings, they saw it. Stakeholders had a bigger hold than the residents. So my question is, what are we gonna do different to let the people understand what this zoning will really do? Because the master plan has been put in place and everything that corporate wanted is in the master plan. Every new zoning idea, every riverfront idea, it's all in the master plan. So I need to make sure that the residents, and we're gonna have a public hearing on this. So I need to make sure that the people know that this is a public hearing, and they need to have an understanding of what the zoning is going to do in the future for Benton Harbor.
Commissioner Henry, it's no public hearing associated with this approval. You've already approved the master plan. This is
We're
for,
not gonna have a public hearing.
no,
We
this is,
are gonna have a public hearing. If we approve a zoning, we're gonna have a public hearing. And we're gonna find a way to let the people know that there is gonna be a public hearing. Let me say.
this is authorizing the interim city manager to execute a contract with McKenna to implement phase 2 of Ben Harbor Master Plan zoning ordinance update.
I got you.
So that's no public hearing. Now,
Yeah, we
maybe
do.
town hall meetings.
We do have to have public input. Yeah, we do. I don't care what you say.
Yeah,
That's what we do,
absolutely.
Democratic.
That's in the,
That's the way we do it. Now,
that's
wait a
in the
minute, wait a minute,
verbiage.
Chair. Wait a minute, Chair. You interrupted me one time, 2 minutes, because I really forgot what I was gonna say.
I stand corrected.
Oh, thank you. There is on page 3, he talks about what McKinney, who's gonna be getting $47,600 to help us out of the $50,000 grant that we got. okay, if this guy, McKinney Corporation, did not include in the full extent that I would like to see it, residents, and how do we make sure that he's gonna do it this time? And then the city is dragging their feet on communication. How do we let the people know that this public entity is going to happen? Let me start with, this is another reason why we need a newsletter to go out to every household to let them know what this is going to do, what this new zoning, and we got some real different zoning in it, is gonna allow corporate world to come in and do their thing. So, I just not to know that if McKinney is gonna get $47,000, that we got to hold their feet to the fire, that they actually incorporate enough Benton Harbor residents, more so than stockholders. So there we go. That's where I feel about it. It's a good thing. It's too late. It's already happening. The master plan is done, but I want to make sure that we include our residents in the process.
Are you finished?
I am, thank you, Chair.
Chair recognizes Mayor Pro Tem Seats.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. I do concur that we need to involve all our residents, not just in this, but to get to the polls and vote. When you have only a couple hundred people voting in a year and barely get them to come to meetings, I think it's our due diligence as a commission to get people involved and show them that this entity has a lot of work to do. They have to provide drafts and zoning ordinance and have public hearings and adoptions, training sessions, and all the other meetings that concur with the master plan. And it is a lot of work to try to rally and do the things that are necessary to make sure that we are involved. But I would concur that, yeah, we do need to get our residents involved with even the voting process, because if you don't get them to propose, I'm not seeing anybody beating down the door to try to take over Benton Harbor. I mean, people are leaving here by droves. I mean, we look at the currency, the stock markets, and everything else. I don't think anybody's trying to take it over now. I think that we've already been through that era of thinking. And if we can now, I would say that we need to rally the troops in order for us to become a part and say what we want. But if you can't get on a regular election 18% to 25% people vote, I don't think they're really concerned about where you're gonna put anything at if we can't get to the polls and vote. I mean, they cut off your Section 8, cut off everything else. You have more people at the Section 8 line than you had at the polls to vote. Thank you, Honorable Mayor.
So I do want to just, for the public consumption of record, Commissioner Henry is correct. Task 1.4, public hearings and adoption. Public hearing presentations, McKenna will prepare for and present the new zoning ordinance at 2 public hearings, one before each the planning commission and one before the city commission. McKenna will be prepared to answer questions and explain the reasoning behind the regulations. 2 revised drafts following each public hearing. McKenna will revise the zoning ordinance as directed by the city. So that means that the city, at the end of all hearings and discussion, has the final say. And that's the city council. We will maintain a list of changes throughout the public hearing process to track the revisions and provide a record for decision makers as they consider approval of the code. Adoption copy of the zoning ordinance and map and revision manual. Following adoption, McKenna will provide final copies of the adopted zoning ordinance in hard copy in digital format and a final copy of the zoning map in hard copy in digital format. will also provide a manual describing how to revise the Word document in a manner that preserves the document's built-in formatting features, hyperlinks, automatic numbering, automatic table contents, indexes, etc., and in a format that can be regularly maintained by city staff without new software. So you are correct. I'm glad you made that citing, because that is very important. So I call for the question.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes,
Motion carried.
and that concludes our work tonight, other than our reports. And I'd like to start with our Deputy Director of Public Safety, our own Deputy Clark. Thank you, Deputy. I'd like to recognize our City Attorney, Attorney Seneca.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. I don't have anything that wasn't already included in the agenda.
Chair recognizes our City Clerk, Clerk Moore.
Thank you. So everybody that is on the absentee list should have received their ballots. I'm going to encourage you to get those in sooner or later so they don't get pushed aside, forgot about. 633 did go out and they are starting to come in, so that's a good thing. July 27th starts early voting at the Todd Center over at LMC. So if you can't vote in person on election day and you're not on the AV list, you can go anytime from July 27th to August 4th from 8:30 to 4:30, besides Wednesday, which is 11 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Thank you. Chair recognizes City Manager, Mr. Little.
I'm going to pass there. Thank you.
All out of words.
All out of words.
Chair recognizes our fourth Ward Commissioner Clark.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. You know, I'm getting sick and tired of some of my colleagues trying to publicly attack me, talking about trying to fact check me when they're not political correct themselves. A lot of them doing a lot of rambling, on and on, talking about nothing. I was told last year by the public works supervisor that those trees on the lawn belongs to the city, and that if we had to even cut them down, we would have to get permission. I don't speak on nothing that I don't know or been told or haven't researched. Fact check that. And also Saturday, July the 20th, Kiva Williams, the Neon Movement is doing a Women Empowerment Day at the City Center Park. And it's gonna be from, let me start over. Saturday, SFAM, we are having a rummage sale at Lake Michigan Garden from 8 in the morning till 5 p.m. We're gonna have everything. Come out there, support us. You don't even have a concession. And if you know about SFAM, Sister from Another Mother, we do a lot of things in the community. A lot of volunteer and just a lot of things. So that's Saturday, July the 20th, from 8 in the morning till 5 at Lake Michigan College. The following day, Sunday, Neon Movement, Ms. Kiva Williams is doing Women Empowerment Day, the 3rd annual. She has asked me to help again, partner, and I also sponsored it again. And my SFAM family is also, we're one of the sponsors. So that's gonna be a Women Empowerment, it's gonna be hula hoop contest, double dutch, it's gonna be for all ages, girls, women, just all ages. Men can come too, usually men are there to support, raffles, prizes, games, a performance, a demo, a taekwondo, and women did self-defense demo. So come on out and do that. Come and join us. Also, 2 days after July 23rd, there will be another 4-4 cleanup. I will be doing a cleanup with the youth group from 2 to 4 p.m. And that's July the 23rd, that Tuesday. And then as everybody knows, the 4th Ward Alliance 3rd annual resource fair and cleanup will be April the 24th. We're gonna have April, Lord Jesus. August the 24th, from 12 to 4. This will be our third cleanup this year, and this will be our third annual, resource fair. We're gonna have activities, facts, raffle, various organizations with resource, a cleanup, a fire truck. So just come on out. All these are coming up, and I will be talking about this more as it get closer. Just come on out. It's gonna be a lot of other great things, but I'm just naming the ones. It's always something going on in Fourth Ward, so positive, but I'm just naming the ones that I'm personally involved in. Thank you. Have a good night.
The chair recognizes Commissioner Kennard.
Thank you, Mayor. As I sat here and I watched the demeanor, I'm not far off from what I see. I see how sometimes when a person is speaking, especially Commissioner Griffin, sometimes I notice how they react towards Commissioner Henry. I'm noticing how even sometimes the smirks and the grins and the heads go together concerning the females that come forth and are strong. And I think that the audience even see how you all behave towards us. And I'm paying close attention, and don't sit in a line because I see how you all do and look like, this idea is we don't know what we're talking about or dismiss us. Continue that, because today my song is that victory is mine. Victory is mine. Today, victory is mine. Get thee, Satan, get thee behind me, because today, victory is mine. That song goes across as a song that we sing in church sometimes. So Satan, when you go to making your remarks and how you treat us because we're female and we're supposed to just follow the leaders as the puppet masters, that's not going to happen here. The snow is melting and we're gonna see all the trash that's under there. And I just want to let you all know that Reverend Pena said hey to y'all of you. And one other thing I want to say is this is our 18th growing season at Fresh Start Children's Garden. And today I went over to the Akin Village over there at the apartments, and I dropped off some vegetables, green tomatoes that a lot of people like, some of the green beans and some of the cabbage greens and other things, because the streets are so torn up through there. A lot of times cars can't get down and through there. So sometimes it's taking me to get bags of our produce and take it down the alley and go to the locations and give it to some of the people that might enjoy cooking a meal. So I want to thank you all for coming, all of you, and thank you all for listening in. And it's good information that we got tonight concerning the apartments. So I'm there at the Brownfield, but sometimes you need a little more clear understanding. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Commissioner Henry.
I just want to thank the residents and anyone that sit here and listen to us any of the time. If you got anything out of it, please share with your residents, your neighbors and your family to look at YouTube. But sometimes you pick out little bitty things that people say that you like or you don't like. So we're gonna have to get involved in our government. Over the years, this body right here has disenfranchised and maligned residents. I didn't say this one, but some of the practices that they use against women are horrible. So just pay attention. Ben Arbor residents are not dumb. They can see and understand and pick it out. And we need to come together. I think all the commissioners, when they bring the residents together, I will be holding some town hall meetings myself this summer, and hopefully implement the job bank again It was here before and it had a lot of response and they threw it away when the emergency manager came and we're gonna try this again. See if we can get some jobs in Ben Harbor and find out who are qualified to do some jobs because when I hear certain people say, oh, nobody wanna work, but nobody has or have any skills. I know better than that. So we're gonna do it, but it's gonna count on you, the residents, to participate and get engaged. And I thank you for being here.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Warren.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Thank everyone for coming. I'm a little disappointed tonight. People talk about they know right from wrong on this commission, and I just heard a couple people talk about disrespect of women. A person's name was brought up who has publicly disrespected me, called me out of my name, and been completely inappropriate and deplorable, and said it about me and threatened me. And I just can't believe someone who said they know right from wrong would bring their name up as to glorify this horrible person. So it's quite disappointing when it's not towards. It's okay to be disrespectful towards one woman as long as you're not towards another one. So I'm another strong Black woman, and it's very disappointing. So I just wanted to kind of get that out there and say that publicly, that it's just, I can't believe that person's name was brought up, and everyone up here knows who I'm referring to and knows their name was brought up. And I am a person, I'm a human, and I should not be disrespected. And it's a shame that they think it's okay to do that to me. I'm a little disappointed, so sorry about that. But my other announcement is tomorrow, the Boys and Girls Club is having a career fair, also a workforce opportunity fair. So the cool thing about this is that you can come if you need a job, but you can also come and learn about other careers that maybe you don't have any knowledge of. We'll have about 15 different employers, even Benton Harbor's Police Department will be there to recruit as well. It's gonna be 3 to 6 p.m. It's gonna be, like I mentioned, tomorrow, July 16th, and it's gonna be at the Teen Center, which is 190 West Empire. It's free, please spread the word, and it'll be from ages high school to 25. So I hope to see you guys out there tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Just like to thank everyone who came out tonight, and every comment that was spoken on tonight. To Renovere and Ms. Hudson, this has been a long process, and so I'm so happy to see this process come into fruition in the city of Benton Harbor to help improve quality of life by providing adequate, affordable, decent housing in our community. So I'm really excited to see this project take place in the city of Benton Harbor. Also to our city manager and the staff that have worked on the blight removal. Like I said, we get a lot of calls. I know I get a lot of calls about stuff happening in the community and the way the community looks. So this is a great step toward remedying some of those issues in our community. So hats off, it's just a start. It's a drop in the bucket with all of the projects and all of the things that need to happen in the city of Benton Harbor, as Commissioner Henry stated, from years of neglect that has occurred. And this commission gets a wonderful, powerful opportunity to help improve that quality in the city of Benton Harbor. So I'm ecstatic about being a part of improving the quality of life and improving the way the city of Benton Harbor looks, because as she stated, it's been years, at least 20. I'd also like to talk about a couple fun summer activities. I have some flyers and I just forgot them. On July the 27th, we'll be doing skating out. Oh, yes, he's gonna talk about it, skating at the parking lot over here and on 6th Street. And so that will be great, and hopefully this will be a start to something that we'll be able to do all summer, and also a start of something that we'll be able to do every year in partnership with the Impact. Secondly, next, the 24th of July, along with the Benton Harbor High School Alumni Association, we'll be doing a cleanup along Empire, Colfax, and around that surrounding area in conjunction with them. I have some flyers for that as well. probably will bring them Wednesday night. So there's a lot of great things happening in the city of Benton Harbor, and I'm just really, really excited about being a part of Benton Harbor becoming a great place for our residents, a clean place for our residents to be in. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Commissioner Singleton.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Yeah, just as Commissioner mentioned, the skating, and it's at no cost to kids. Harbor Impact's been helping with kids, I guess, for the last few years. So please help that out, that event. Mr. Gunn spoke about the art fair. That's also with some of our youth. That's going to be a big event. Class of 74 will be there. I guess trying to get folks registered up for the Legacy Run at that event too. Glad to see this project with Project T going. Looking forward to seeing it. Thanks again for all the hard work, staff, and the different folks who've been working on that. Since we kind of addressing, a little bit of the kind of the dirty laundry there a little bit, I have, I kind of felt for Commissioner Warren, and she has been attacked, and it's kind of bad to bring up the name of somebody that's been doing that. I've been a victim of that same person.
I don't have anything to do.
No, so.
Point of order, please. Commissioner Singleton has the floor.
And when we talk about getting attacked, I hear ladies getting cheered and clapped for, coming up to this podium here, attacking them. Pretty much what I've seen is pretty much all black men, and you get folks saying, hey, you got a right to say anything, but hey, that don't bother me, talk about, get behind me, Satan, and
Yes.
get behind me, tell Mr. Bigby how you doing. But just, we need to just get out of that and if we say something or say, if it ain't what certain folks agree to, then you picking and all that. But that's I heard somebody say that fact checking, I'd rather, when it comes to law, I'd rather listen to legal counsel than public works. If it's about picking up trash, I'll listen to public works. So the law is the law.
On a personal privilege.
I didn't speak when they were speaking for. So now, we just, that's just the way it is, and then folks get mad, but like I said, that's okay. Thing is, let's just get the city business done, these personal attacks and, who on what side and all that side. We're supposed to be on the side of the citizens, and, hopefully we can get to that, that's what's going on in Washington now, to this point. So tough where somebody just decided to take a shot at the former president, but all that rhetoric and all that stuff, sooner or later it catches up. So let's just get back to doing the city business, keep it in that. We got some other stuff, that we need to deal with. We can deal with that with each other. I think the people who come to the meetings and watch the meetings on YouTube want us to take care of city business.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Commissioner Isaac.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I've had a long day, so I was kind of quiet, but we had the personnel and finance meeting Wednesday, so come out. We're going to talk about the city income tax. Thank you, Project T. We finally got this thing going. It's been a long road, but we there. Expect great things. Expect great order, man.
Point of order, Commissioner Isom does have.
Yeah, talking about the trees. This is real, this is, I drive around. This is what, I'm gonna tell you something. On a good Saturday night, Friday night too, we'll give you some trees, like it's a lot of dead trees in the city. Cut them up about this big. You talking about a fire in the backyard? Man, I had a nice good fire after a long day. That wood burned good in Ben Harbor, I'm telling you. I got a nice fire pit, and the fire was about, can I get up to show you? The fire was about this tall.
I'm gonna violate the ordinance.
Asthma.
But anyway, so that's my way of helping getting rid of some blight. Some good firewood, nice relaxing fire. Commissioner Henry, just come back there and sit with me sometime. I'll keep it low for you.
Point of order, please.
But anyway, yeah, Personnel Finance Committee meeting Wednesday. Talk about city income tax and other things concerning the city's finances. And I want to thank this couple right here. This couple, I think it's names, but they're loyal Detroit Lions fans. We all in this together. They support the Lions like I do, and they smile and happy just like I am, full of joy. And that's what it's all about. You can make somebody smile. I know somebody's smiling right now. Somebody got a smile. Look that way. That's what it's all about. Smiling at each other is the right thing to do. See, I try to bring unity. That's the key. Unity and smiling and laughter is part of it. Commissioner Rice and Commissioner Henry.
Don't pick on me.
No, I ain't.
Don't pick on me.
I ain't say nothing.
We don't want anybody to feel bullied.
I'm gonna say I like your hat. That's all I'm gonna say. You wear nice hats. I always tell you that. Thank you. See? I said that time. Thank you. Expect great things from Ben Harbor. We're doing a great job. This is a teamwork. That's what it's all about. Thank you. Expect great things. God bless you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Seats.
Thank you. I'm gonna have a moment of silence for about 2 seconds because I've really heard a lot of just really crazy stuff today that I've never even heard in my life, never even expected in my life. And I want y'all really to do me a favor. Do go on YouTube and watch when people are talking in the faces of others. I want everybody to do that. I don't care who it is talking. Watch the faces of others when others are talking, and you'll see what the reality really is. Not just here, but everywhere. There are people who are disrespectful everywhere. Everywhere they go, in the front of the residents, the city residents, other people who are not city residents, when their constituents are doing anything, watch their behaviors, and you'll see what the reality is. I support Santana Warren. She is a Black female who ran for office, did not run on either side. She ran on her own and was elected. And for anybody to put her name and her face on a power pole, and we say we support these kind of people, and yet we're talking about people who have done no wrong to nobody on this board. But we'll say somebody getting their picture put on a power pole, and we support them. What kind of, really? This young lady has done, and to put her, talk about her and her family, her daughter, on a public entity, defacing her, and we talking about women, and we standing up for women? Are you serious? I have not disrespected not one female on this board. I've treated them with tremendous respect. We might not agree, but I've never disrespected anyone on this board. But to support somebody who has lied and said people have raped people, people have murdered people on this board, people have stolen money, people have taken stuff, people got credit cards and taken that, and we're gonna lift them up. We support that and watch the ones that support that behavior and then say they're for the people. I challenge you behind that because you're supporting someone whose record speaks for itself. So I want to say
Thank you, Ms. Hudson. Thank you, Project T. You find negativity in everything that anybody tries to do in Benton Harbor that's not being done. People charge the city for cleanups. Charging us. Pay for your own cleanups. And I'm saying it publicly. Pay for them. If you want to sponsor it, pay for it. We ain't trying to play big shot and little guys around the net. I'm saying it to this day publicly. If you support somebody like that, you don't deserve to be on this board. This woman has done nothing to anybody on this board. She has done nothing to anybody in this community. And to be posterized around our community as a murderer or a killer, like the 60s or something, like she got a reward on her name and putting a picture on that, and we think that's a joke, like this some game. It's wrong. And we are wrong. And we support that behavior, because when your time comes, then we'll see what happens. Because we don't like it when it's us. It's the devil. The devil's a lie. And God got my back, and no weapon formed against me gonna prosper. And you the one doing it. How the world that work? Now God got you, but when you do wrong, now God gonna get everybody else. Come on. Let that go, please. And I don't mean to have that kind of, but when you say that about a woman, a young lady who came back to Benton Harbor, brought her family back to Benton Harbor, and has been serving faithfully, truthfully, loyally, and doing no wrong, because you don't agree with the way she voted, now you put her all across the community on power polls and all that? That's crazy.
But I haven't had anything to do with it.
Point of order, please. I would just say that I think that, point of order, please.
Well, I just told you, didn't beat up for 6 minutes.
So I would just say that, I think that we have to be very careful with our tone and tenor and our words. Words matter. And we can see that we were in a very politically toxic environment, not just federal, but it's state and even local. And we don't want to say anything, please listen, where we incite others to do things where somebody is harmed or hurt. I have come to Commissioner Warren and have let her know I support you. Is there anything that we can do? And I wouldn't say this, I'm just saying this publicly now, but this has been ongoing because I support and try to support what's right. I've been the target of, I won't even get into that because part of it is par for the course. You become a public figure, certain things will be said, certain criticisms will come your way. But when it becomes where it's now verbal assaults and attacks and things being said where people can turn it into violence, then it's gone too far. So let us monitor our own behavior, starting with the mayor. And even though we may have great differences, great disagreements, different perspectives, different views on whatever we may be debating, but I just ask that we keep it civil and we can agree to disagree, but not be disagreeable to where now it's an issue where violence and harm can creep in. So, but on a positive note, the work that was done and what was voted on and completed today, I'm glad that I'm not up for re-election because somebody would say, oh, he only did that because he on the ballot. Because Project T, $27 million development in the heart of the third ward is unprecedented. We got a long way to go, but we're committed as a group to continue to move forward. The tree issue it is a matter of public safety. And although it took a quick detour and turn, but Mr. Little and the staff, they did the work. And they brought it to us, and CDBG dollars is covering it. So it's not gonna be on the taxpayer. And what the money is supposed to be used for, our city manager is using it in that way. So I'm excited about our staff. I'm excited about this city commission, because although we disagree and we have our issues, and I may smirk, forgive me if I do, but it's not with malice. And it's not one person on this council that I would support a recall against, that I would support ousting, or support somebody that's publicly berating anybody in this group. So with that being said, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion carried.